Welcome to Warrior Commission Now, where we talk about practical ways to live out your commission in the Lord. And so Sharon Rudolph and my name is Christine Caston, are here just talking about, we're just continuing conversations that have been ongoing for years. And we're inviting you to our table. We would love for you to participate and take part. There are places to comment if you'd like to make a comment. And we just want to share different aspects of what we feel God's doing in our hearts, in our personal lives, in our lives as part of the Warrior Commission, and what we're discovering with warriors that are part of our tribe to just, help you and to pour into you. So today's focus has to do with passion revelation. And really, Sharon's going to define passion for us here in just a second, because one of the things that we have a tendency to do is we use words that are common words, but we have some meanings that go with them that I think actually shift the context of how we're seeing those words versus how someone else might see those words. And so with Sharon's defining of this word, hopefully it will help us be on the same page for this conversation. So yes. Sharon, would you help us have a good grid for passion as we're going to be kind of referring to it through this chat?
So, because Christine and I were talking and we were like, wait a minute, no, that's not quite how I see that. And what I realized was we were not quite grasping. Hold on just a second. I had it. So the dictionary, if you look it up in the dictionary, it refers to passion as a strong, almost uncontrollable emotion. Mm-hmm. And within the Warrior Commission, where we do a lot of life in God, when we talk about passion, it's much more about the action that comes from the emotion. Mm-hmm. Like I have a passion for music, or I have a passion for heartfelt connections with people, right? It's the action that is produced by that mm-hmm. emotion, mm-hmm. not just the emotion itself. Mm-hmm. So in passion revelation, there's so much in our life with God where those emotions do grow strong and our love in the Lord expands. Mm-hmm. And we have those aha moments in life that end up fueling an action. Mm-hmm. Because there is emotion behind it. There is a fire mm-hmm. that comes from the Lord. And it's way more fun. Way more fun than just, okay, got to get this done, going to plod through, right? Yeah. No, when you have that relationship with God that provides that fire, mm-hmm. well, then everything shifts.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I love that because passion that's only emotion based will ebb and flow. Right. You'll have good days, you'll have bad days, you'll have challenging days, and that passion may or may not keep going. But when we're talking about a passion for God, what we're actually looking at is how that passion, that revelation of the passion that we have for him actually fuels and compels us forward. So, one of the things that came to mind was that idea of like a log ride. And, when you're on a log ride and, when you're going up the big, I guess mountain or hill or whatever you want to call it, yeah. You're on this conveyor belt. So it's moving you forward. And then you get to the top, and it's exciting because something's coming, right? And so then you get to the top and you look down and you go, oh no, here it comes. And then it's the excitement, the thrill of going down the slide, if you will, as you're going down that hill. But there are times in between where it's kind of flat and there's not quite enough water flow to really keep you moving, right. just on its own accord. And so they put sometimes either jets of water or actual wheels, like little tires that are turning. And so as you hit those tires or that water propels you, it pushes you forward and through that kind of stagnating type of place. And so we were talking about how the revelation of passion is like that in our journey and in our walk with God, that we get to these places that seem kind of flat, but he gives us these little nuggets of revelation that builds our passion to keep us moving forward and keeps us really in alignment with him in his journey. So Sharon, how have you found God has he given you a picture of that, or has he, kind of spoken to you or helped you in your journey in that process of kind of being in that flat space to keep you moving forward?
So we have another talk, and it's on that TWC. In TWC, one of our identities is that we're transition specialists. That's another talk. But this thought of the passion and maintaining momentum and the revelation that helps fuel the passion came from that, because there's been so much transition. There's been transformation that's been needed to stand in the new place. And God loves to provide exactly what's needed, whether it's water jets or wheels or to get you to the passion necessary to fuel the action, right? And the picture God gave me was sort of like Dorothy. It's the Wizard of Oz. And Dorothy gets sucked into this tornado and ends up in Oz, a brand new place. And yet that's the place she needed to be in order to make the most of her own backyard, right? There's no place like home.
Right.
And God gives us those kinds of revelations, those kinds of experiences that in the moment we may not even be happy about, right? And yet he's using it to help us have that aha moment. Oh, this is how I get to see that. And the fire's going again, right? There's something about being willing to align with God in order to maintain the alignment with God. And that's working with him in how he wants to do things for us. And I think it's huge. God knows us. He knows what we need. So we can stand in the place he needs us to be, whether it's a shift in character, transformation, maybe it's a physical location. There's so much movement going on in the country right now.
Right. Lots of shifting.
God brings the things we need, that bit of revelation to stoke the fire for the action to come.
Yeah.
So Christine, how have you seen that in your life?
Oh, it's lots of little ways, but sometimes it's just, say, a resource that I connect to, like a book. Sometimes it's a person. Sometimes it's just in quiet time in scripture. God offers a revelation that opens me up to more of what he's doing in this moment in time. Sometimes it's a word of encouragement that someone speaks over me. There are a myriad of ways, as creative as God is, basically, as to how that happens. But I think what really is the key component of that isn't just, oh, gee, that was nice, thanks God,
Thanks.
cool, but actually saying, being grateful, having an attitude of gratefulness and thankfulness, and recognizing that, hey, that was a seemingly little thing, but it's what's actually keeping me moving. It's what's actually compelling me forward or pushing me forward in this place. Especially if you're in between those mountains, like if you're in that valley kind of place, and you're in that space where things aren't necessarily, moving up or sliding down, it's it's a place of transition from one of those to another.
Right.
And so, so in that space, there's that moment to really breathe, and to take in his presence, and to carry those revelations, those pieces of passion that he's fueling in you, as precious and tender. And I think as I've learned to do that, I'm still, still sometimes I miss it, but I think as I learn to do that, there's a refreshing and a renewal that happens through that revelation, and that passion that is the fire that's stoked, if you will, in that place, just allows it to stay ready for what will be poured on it later. It's easier to take a fire that's already burning and build it than it is to start with one and try to, start that spark. So it keeps the spark from being needed, and it continues to allow that fire to burn, and to burn hot, so that as God gets to the point where he's going to be adding more fuel to that fire, and that passion can build, for that next thing that's really coming.
Yes.
Don't stagnate in that place.
Yes. And I loved how, as we've been talking about this, we have a tendency to expect the tornado moment, the big deal. And yet it's learning how to be connected to the presence of God so that the coals stay burning, that you don't need a tornado moment.
Yeah.
You just need a relationship, a friendship, a connection. And that's what we do in the Warrior Commission. We train so that the coals are ready when they need to be ready, so that there's an ongoing thing. And even when the external may feel like a lull, there's always that fire there. And we are alert and passionate about what is the aha moment? What is the peace that God is bringing that we need to step in to the next thing? And if you're interested, check out thewarriorcommission.com and find out a little bit about our community and how we train. If you want that fire to be more consistent in your life and to be ready for the next thing, so that tornadoes maybe aren't needed quite so much to get you moving, or to help bring you revelation, check us out. We'd love to be able to help you on your journey, and to help you connect with God to fuel your passion for how he's wired you. So thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.